situation today. I don't understand what happened. Very disastrous. It's disappointed completely. The key players who come out for nothing. All the plans are down. It's very difficult. But these boys, I can't understand them. Today you are good, tomorrow you are bad. I don't understand what happened. But today is very bad game. I don't have anything to say. Very bad game. But
your expression,
you take a chance. We played 90 minutes without any shoot on the goalkeeper. Any shoot, one shoot. No. I'm not happy. To be serious, I'm not happy.
I remember one in Kazan. We went to Kazan in the Champions League, and in that match I had all my strikers injured. No Milito, no Eto'o. I was really in trouble, and Mario was the only one. Mario gets a yellow card in minute 42, 43. So when I go to the dressing room at halftime, I spend, I would say, 14 minutes of the 15. I was spending 14 minutes speaking only for Mario. Mario, I cannot change you. I cannot make a change. I don't have a striker on the bench. Don't touch anybody. Play only with the ball. When we lose the ball, no reaction. If somebody provocates you, no reaction. If the referee makes a mistake, no reaction. Mario, please. Minute 46.
No way.
Red card.
No way.
But here comes the great man, Usain Bolt, charging down the straight as best they can. The other men are trying to follow him. Mullings and Spearman. Spearman finishing fast. Bolt wins. Bolt wins. And Bolt has smashed his own world record. Just as he did in Beijing. He gets world records in both the 100 meters and the 200 meters. It was 1930 in Beijing. It's 1920 here.
We dared to dream, and he has provided an epic moment once again here in Berlin. This man is just out of this world.
Novak Djokovic, a Grand Slam champion again. Novak Djokovic, his third major title of this season. His fourth U.S. Open. 24 and counting. 24 and he still wants more.
I haven't even read them because they keep on coming. They keep on coming. I think that I have to turn one of the phone off.
You haven't read any of them? Messages of support?
No, not at all, not at all. Look, they still calling. They still calling. Phones are calling. So that shows how joy people are in our country.
Like I said before, McGuigan is good and he's a fighter. And the way McGuigan fight, there's no way McGuigan can beat me. There's no way McGuigan can go 4 rounds with me because of my power. I got my power, I got experience, I got everything too much more than McGuigan. And I want him, that girl, I call her girl because she don't want to fight me. She's scared of me. She know who I am and what I can do. I know the trainers. These trainers don't want to fight me. And I took the title from a young man. And any old man who wants to challenge me, hey, I'm gonna kill him. Oh, you know, man, I'm too bad, baby.
It's time for sports, and it's time for the Weekend Sports Rally live on Zed 101.9 FM. My name is Raymond Yamado, and I bring you all the sporting action you've missed out on in the course of the week, and all the sports action yet to come in the weekend's round of games and round of events. Good morning, Accra. Good morning, Ghana. Good morning to you wherever you're listening to us from. You're welcome to the Weekend Sports Rally live on Zed 101.9 FM. A lot happened since the last time we met at this rally. From 9 Ghanaian para-athletes who disappeared after entering Norway on Schengen visas obtained with fraudulent documents under the guise of participating in the Jordkraft Bergen City Marathon, a competition Ghana never registered to participate in. Samson Dean, the president of the National Paralympic Committee, claims no Ghanaian para-athlete was authorized by the NPC to travel to Norway. The Paralympic president Samson Dean also confirmed that 4 family members of the late coach of the fake para team who went to Norway to bring him back, or went to Norway to bring back the mortal remains of the late coach, also disappeared. In what has been a tale of disappearances this week. Hearts of Oak have been busy on the transfer market, bringing in droves of players. The Porcupine Warriors Kumasi Asante Koroko also unveiled plans of redeveloping their training field or their training ground, their Dako Jachi training facility. Beautiful images emerge of the Takwa TNA Park that will be officially unveiled on August 16. On the international front, Manchester United, Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester City are all in preseason action. They are also busy on the transfer market. Arsenal coach Mikel Arteta says Arsenal need 114 points to win the English Premier League. Yes, he says his team have to win all 38 matches next season. Also, the Olympic men and women's football competition kicked off on Thursday. Some interesting matches, some interesting results, and of course, lots of controversy. That game between Argentina and Morocco was quite an interesting one. The Moroccans won that game by 2-1, but there was VAR controversy, there was pitch invasion issues, and the game that many thought had ended had to be restarted after over an hour, only for the teams to play just 3 minutes of the time remaining. Just 3 minutes of the remaining time. That's what happened in France in the course of the week as far as that game between Argentina and Morocco is concerned. Javier Mascherano, coach of Argentina, says he's never seen that in football. And also from the last time we met at the rally, Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris locked up the front two on the grid in the Hungarian Grand Prix. Both McLaren drivers finished a 1-2 to ensure that McLaren picked their first 1-2 of the season. Up next is the Belgian Grand Prix. And a lot will be happening this weekend in the world of sports. We'll bring you everything you need to know about Team Ghana at the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. And yes, the 33rd edition of the Summer Olympic Games Paris 2024 got underway yesterday with an incredibly unique opening ceremony. For the first time in the history of the Olympic Games, the opening ceremony was held outside the stadium. And after 100 years, the Olympic Games returned to Paris. This year's host city put up a show that lasted nearly 5 hours with close to 700 out of 10,500 athletes competing in the games, representing 206 national delegates traveling in 94 boats along a 6-kilometer stretch of the Seine River between Pont de Sterlis and Pont de Diana. The water parade passed beside and under a host of Paris landmarks, including the famous Notre Dame Cathedral, Pont Neuf, and Place de la Concorde, to arrive at the foot of the Eiffel Tower. Famous singer Celine Dion sang from a platform on the Eiffel Tower to the excitement of some 330,000 spectators who braved the rains to watch from tiered seating on the banks and the bridges of the River Seine. Also part of the spectacle were sports icons including tennis great Rafa Nadal, Serena Williams, and Ballon d'Or winner Zinedine Zidane, who helped transport the Olympic flame to an ever-growing group of French athletes who themselves carried it towards the giant cauldron. About 100 heads of states and government leaders were also present at the rain-drenched opening ceremony. The cauldron has been lit, officially opening the Olympic Games. High time for heroes, no time for mistakes. Some 10,500 athletes will compete in 329 medal events across 32 sports disciplines. Team Ghana will be represented by 8 athletes, Ghana's lowest number of athletes since the 1952 Olympic Games in Helsinki. The question on the lips of everyone is, can Ghana win a medal at the Paris 2024 Olympics? Stay with us as we analyze the chances of Team Ghana and other exciting events you should look forward to at the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. Time to talk about what the world is talking about in the world of sports. Good morning to you and welcome. It's the Weekend Sports Rally, live on Zed 101.9 FM. My name is Raymond Yamado, and as always, I welcome you to your lifestyle, leisure, and business platform, Zed 101.9 FM. It's the Weekend Sports Rally live. And just before I forget, we'll be getting into some boxing discussion today. Still trying to find out why Ghana failed to produce a boxer, or failed to get a boxer into this year's Olympic Games. Ghana has only ever won 5 medals at the Olympics, 4 from boxing and 1 medal from men's football. Conspicuously missing at this year's competition for Ghana will be our amateur boxers. What went wrong? We'll be having a discussion with the communications officer of the Ghana Boxing Federation. Good time to get into the discussion. Lukman Evergreen Moomin has joined me on the show. And let me welcome my guest. Lukman, good morning and welcome.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Raymond. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Yes.
I'm sure you were spending time watching the opening ceremony.
Yeah. I did from the first minute to the last minute. It was an amazing opening ceremony. One of the best in recent times. And then I love the bits about Ghana where we had a very...
You had a private boat.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was looking at other countries, being joined by other countries on the same boat, and then we had our own
exclusive boat.
Exactly. And the way the athletes were so happy and then poised for the competition, it tells you that they are not going there to just be counted as just numbers. They are going there to compete, and I loved everything about it. It was exciting to see. And then the fact that you see people like Zinedine Zidane, you see people like even Snoop Dogg.
Zidane is a big boy in France.
Look, this is the fact. Zidane is the icon of Paris. He's the icon of France. I mean, you realize that everything that has to do with French sports without Zidane is never complete. That tells you how big he is, how important he is to the country. I mean, it was because the first minutes from the start of the opening ceremony, he was the first face you'd see, and then before you see other athletes, I mean, the USA came there very buoyant, very loud.
I mean, of course. What else should you expect? The most successful team or country when it comes to the Olympics. Absolutely. They had to make everybody feel their presence. And
exactly.
Team America definitely is the team to watch.
Yeah. Over 500 athletes on that boat. I mean, you had the likes of Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Coco Gauff. Even Coco Gauff couldn't believe that she was the flag bearer alongside LeBron James. So it was really exciting. Some of the best athletes will be in Paris from now to for some couple of weeks, and it makes it so exciting. At least we have some sports to be glued up to. Already, some countries have already started winning medals.
Of course, that's the beauty of the sport. I mean, once that cauldron is lit, I mean, the game's set to begin. So there's a lot to talk about today on the Sports Rally. But look, man, that opening ceremony, I mean, a lot of people have had their say. Some say you cannot compare that to what happened in Tokyo. Lots of pieces to write about the opening ceremony. Celine Dion's performance was absolutely top-notch. That whole introduction of sports icons, Rafa Nadal, Serena Williams, and then you talk about Zinedine Zidane. All of them, how they held that Olympic torch was marvelous. But there were some other controversial bits to it. When it came to some of the performances we saw, a bit of, transvestite activities in there and all. At a point, I could not watch with my kids. It was a bit, it was a bit difficult to watch. But I mean, I think that's a new world order, they say.
Yeah, I mean, France itself has become so political now. I mean, if you remember, just before the start of the European Championship, we had players like Kylian Mbappe voicing their out politically about whatever is going on in the country. Even before some of the performances, there is this lady called Aya Nakamura. She had wanted to bow out of the performance because of this racial issues that is ongoing in France. And so France has become so polarized when it comes to some of these things. And I feel like it is an agenda that is being tried to push. And it's what I don't like is that for things like sports or for the Olympic Games, it doesn't matter. I mean, there was a 14-year-old as the flag bearer of one of the countries. And so if people under ages of 14, 13, 12, and the rest are watching things like this, you try to be cautious with the kind of message you are trying to put out there. But then, like I said, this is the new world order. France itself has become a little bit polarized when it comes to some of these things. For a superpower, I mean, you don't really understand what they are trying to tell us. But then they keep on doing this. It made it very, very difficult to watch at a certain point, like you said. If you compare it to other opening ceremonies, I mean, it was different. I think the unique thing about this opening ceremony was the fact that they used the river scene for the parade.
Yeah, absolutely. The first time we saw opening ceremony outside the stadium. It was good.
That was the most unique thing about it. But then, in terms of opening ceremonies, I mean, it was good. But then we all know that there were better opening ceremonies than this one.
Well, there's still a lot to talk about on the sports rally this morning. And already China have won 2 gold medals. And South Korea with 1 silver. United States have 1 silver as well. And United Kingdom have a bronze. Kazakhstan have a bronze. So the medals, teams are already winning medals.
Ghana has 0 yet.
Yeah, Ghana 0. I think our first event will be the swimming event. So that should be on the 30th. Yeah, I think on the 30th, right? Yeah. But Lukman will bring us up to speed with what's been happening in the world of sports. A bit of sports updates from Lukman, Evergreen Moment. This is the weekend sports rally.
All right, so I mean, there's been a lot of action throughout the week, but then in terms of the Olympics, which will be our major focus this morning, there's already been some events that have been held. In terms of football, started on Thursday, and it started controversially with Argentina and then Morocco. Yes, there was a game between Argentina and then Morocco. That game ended by 2-1. In fact, it ended at 2-2, but then a decision later on reversed a goal from Argentina. So it ended with Morocco winning by 2-1. Well, the Argentina coach who formerly played for Liverpool and then Barcelona, Javier Mascherano, he described the chaotic ending to the team's 2-1 loss as a circus and then a disgrace. So that was Javier Mascherano there. He was very disappointed with the results, how everything panned out in that game. Well, later on that day, Spain, who are European champions. They defeated Uzbekistan by 2-1. Interestingly, there are players from the European Championship team that are still in that Spanish team. And so Spain beat Uzbekistan by 2-1. Egypt, one of Africa's representatives at the Olympic Games in football, they were held to a goalless draw by the Dominican Republic. The New Zealand defeated Guinea by 2-1. Japan thrashed Paraguay by 5-0. And then in a shocking result, Iraq defeated Ukraine by 2-1. Now host France, who are coached by former Arsenal and Barcelona forward Thierry Henry, they defeated Mali by 3. They defeated the United States by 3-0, and then Mali shared the spoils with Israel. They played out a 0-0 draw. But then, still with the Olympic Games, there were some major athletes that were flag bearers at the opening ceremony. Yes, we can talk about LeBron James, who was the flag bearer for the United States alongside Coco Gauff, and then Brooklyn Nets guard Dennis Schroeder. He was also the flag bearer for Germany, and he was the first black person to become the flag bearer of Germany. And then another basketball star who was a flag bearer was Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis Antetokounmpo was the flag bearer of Greece. I mean,
he's my man.
Yeah. So there is some dynamism here. There's been some shift in terms of the kind of people who are flag bearers.
I think that basketball this year, would be a sport to watch.
Exactly.
Because, you are going through that lineup. You are going through the lineups, and you are seeing that star-studded American team.
Yeah.
Then you look at other teams and say, wow. Yeah. They also have some big boys in there. You talk about Serbia, and there's Nikola Jokic, Jovic in there. Yeah. There's Jokic also in there. Yeah. You know, you look at France, and then Victor Wembanyama also in there. You look at you look at teams like Canada.
Yeah.
Canada have some fantastic Jamal Murray and the likes in there. We'll come back to that.
Sure.
There's Bogdanovic in there for Serbia. You see the players we see in the NBA. Featuring at this tournament, and you just know they're going to give it their all. Earlier this morning, I think there was a game between Australia. Australia won their game this morning. Just before we came on. I think it was Australia and Spain. Australia have won their first game.
Australia got they were silver medalists in the last competition. They were beaten by the United States of America. And so Australia is a team to watch in
and then we'll be talking about South Sudan.
Yes, the South Sudan thing.
Look, man, I mean, there are lessons in there for Ghana to pick.
Exactly.
South Sudan story.
Exactly.
I mean, look, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's going to be very interesting. I'm very excited. For me, a lot of my focus will be on basketball because of the talents that are cut across. You know, back in the day, it's always the United States having the star-studded NBA players in their team. But then you look across from Serbia to Greece to South Sudan and the other countries. There are very big names to compete in the competition. Now, it wasn't only men's football that was played at the competition during the week. There was also women's football, which began with the United States, who are now coached by Emma Hayes. They defeated Zambia by 3-0. We could have been Zambia in that game because Ghana were lost to Zambia and failed to qualify for the Olympic Games. Germany.
It's always the could have for us.
Yeah. We've become a could have country. Everything is could have now. So yes, the United States defeated Zambia by 3-0. Zambia did put up a very good performance. They played most of the game by a lady down. And then Germany defeated Australia by 3-0. Host France, they were handed a scare. They were leading by 3-0, and then later it ended by 3-2 against Colombia. Spain came from behind to beat Japan by 2-1. Brazil labored to defeat Nigeria by 1-0, and then Canada, they came from a goal down to beat New Zealand by 2-1. Well, we have also some transfer news that went on over the week in England. Do you know France midfielder Moussa Diaby, after just a season in the English Premier League, he's now gone to Saudi Arabia, where he signed for Al Ittihad. So Moussa Diaby left Champions League football for Arabian money, of course. He joined Aston Villa last season for £51.9 million, but then he's now leaving at the end of the season.
A quick one on that. What's happening to Kudus Mohamed?
Well,
is he staying at West Ham?
Well, Kudus is currently focused on the upcoming season. Okay. Unfortunately for him, where he used to have Jennifer Mendelswich as his agent, she could have handled things a bit differently. But then now it is his relatives that are handling him. And so it looks like it's taking a backward approach in terms of his next move. Kudus wants to play another season for West Ham United, but then Liverpool are also very interested because of
Liverpool are not going to pay him Saudi money.
Exactly. But then you see, I believe for Mohamed Kudus, he wants another season of English Premier League football. I'm not his advisor. I can't choose for him. But then that Saudi money was blown out. It was some good money because he will be taking over £200,000 a week as a salary, no tax, no deductions. At the end of the year, he will be making around 30 million pounds.
13 million.
Yeah, so which means every month,
cash.
every month he's making in excess of 1 million pounds a salary. But then, like I said, because it's not Jennifer who is his agent anymore, it is his relatives, and for his relatives, they will look at what he says than what. In fact,
the agent would have pushed for.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, the agent would also look at things like commission and then the rest, and then whether it will make a good move for the player. Right. So yes, we are still waiting to see what will happen. But then I feel he will stay at West Ham because he's their poster boy. You go to social media.
You know, the challenge for me here is that West Ham have a new manager.
Yeah.
Okay. Now this manager would also look at the players he has.
Yeah.
And see if he can get the best out of them, and possibly play in a certain way that would suit his style and philosophy.
Yeah.
Now, if Kudus doesn't sit on top of that philosophy, if Kudus doesn't get to fit into the coach's game plan, then it possibly means that we may not be seeing too much of Kudus in that team. But I'm hoping that Kudus nails the spot in that West Ham team and delivers even a much better performance than we saw last season. If that happens, his stock could go high. His value could go high again, and possibly the Saudi clubs could be coming with more money. So I'm just hoping that this well-calculated risk Kudus wants to take pays off for him.
Yeah, because the truth is, Kudus's position would have been what Musa Diaby went for. It was supposed to be Mohamed Kudus, but then Musa Diaby felt, look, he is even a Champions League player. He decided, look, it's better for me to move to Saudi Arabia. I understand them. Look, the thing is, football has become so global now. It's not about playing in the Premier League. Look, we've seen players from the Saudi Pro League command positions at the European Championship, ended up becoming some of the best players at the competition. N'Golo Kante, Aymeric Laporte won the European Championship with Spain. It cements his legacy. Yep. It does. Look, whatever he did with Manchester City, he will never be remembered for that. He will rather be remembered for what he did with the Spanish national team. So it is a decision.
And Julian Lopetegui is the man in charge.
Yeah.
The Spanish coach.
Yeah.
They like to play with technically gifted players.
Exactly.
Kudus comes in there. So I'm hoping that Lopetegui makes him a mainstay in his team.
Yeah.
So we could see the best of Kudus, and that could absolutely skyrocket his value.
Well, so I actually listened to Kudus on what he thinks of the new manager. According to Mohamed Kudus, he says the new manager gives him that freedom to play the way he wants. But then if you have coaches like Julian Lopetegui, it's not just about West Ham being a mid-table team. These are ambitious coaches because of their pedigree and what they've achieved in the past. Lopetegui would want to finish in top Champions League football. It doesn't matter if Mohamed Kudus scores 2 goals. If they are losing, he would take decision. He will make decision. Unlike David Moyes, who might have felt comfortable playing in mid-table, whatever the results
just
is.
Avoid relegation.
Exactly. Just avoid the draw. So yes, it will take a little bit of toll. Like you said, it is a calculated risk. We just hope that it works for him because 30 million pounds.
That's a lot of cash. Look,
a year. Well, so some little bit of information on the Olympic Games. These are some of the tips that I think our listeners should know. Well, so the Olympic Games actually, the opening ceremony happened yesterday. It starts today, and then there are 32 sports that will be competed for, a total of 40 sports actually, including 32 that are coming up in the Olympic Games in Paris. And then if you would also want to know, there are over 200 countries that are competing at this year's Olympic Games, and there are over 17,000 athletes competing for laurels in Paris 2024. Now, let's look at the new some of the new other sports to the competition. There is what we call climbing. There is also skateboarding, and then surfing. Yesterday, if you watched the opening ceremony very, very well, before the events itself, there were little kids that were skateboarding. it was a prelude to tell you that now skating has become part of the Olympic Games. Now, how long will the Olympic Games last? Well, so it starts from now to somewhere in between August. And so let's watch out for that. And then, of course, the United States are the team with the second highest representatives at the Olympics. They have 594 athletes. They are followed. France actually has the most athletes at the competition. And then before the competition actually started, every athlete was given a mobile phone from Samsung. The latest.
That was nice.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I saw Team Ghana. The athletes holding their phone.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah. At least if you don't win a medal, you win a phone. So, so for Ghanaian athletes, we have that flip phone. If you don't want it, you can come down and sell it. Well, that is it with some of the tidbits. And then when you go to basketball, South Sudan, they are making their first appearance at the Olympics after gaining independence just 13 years ago. So for South Sudan, they become the first team to actually qualify for basketball in their first attempt. That should tell you their story and how they've been able to achieve that. So Raymond, these are some of the things that we have for you this morning in terms of tidbits. On the local scene, of course, Accra House of Oak, Kumasi, Asante Kotoko, they are doing some signings. They are preparing for the start of the season. But then the Accra House of Oak coach, he says even Messi is not perfect. So,
Watara always has, some of these things he says, and then he goes like, if your wife doesn't want you again, you let her go. He has quite some.
And you know the funny thing, when he was asked why did he say Messi is not perfect, you know what he said? He can't cross the ball.
But that's a problem for Messi.
Yeah.
He can't cross the ball.
Yeah. You know, he is a technical man, so he might have watched him with his technical eye and then realized that this is a deficiency in Messi's game. I know he's trying to defend his players ahead of the start of the season. The Messi quote is blown out, it's everywhere, and that's the thing. I always say, if you don't have coaches that will give you soundbite, that will make the distance, because this is sellable. It was all over. I saw
it on international platforms.
Some international platforms writing about it. That should tell, this is what we need, but we don't want the boring.
Well, look, man, on the Ghana Premier League, I think next week, God willing, we'll get into the Ghana Premier League proper. And I would want us to do a bit of work on the Ghana Premier League. Look, from where I sit, that product it's not as good as we think it is.
Is it even good?
Look, man, you talk about the South African Premier League, the SPL, being able to secure a sponsorship to the tune of $50 million. The South African Premier League. And then you look at our Ghana Premier League, scrambling for a meager 800,000, 1 million, $1.5 million from a sponsor.
Because it's not a good product.
Because the product is as bad as whatever. You have your players leaving this Premier League to go and play in Tanzania, leaving the Ghana Premier League to go and play in Guinea, leaving the Ghana Premier League to go and play in Togo.
And every year
it tells a lot. It tells a lot about the kind of league we are running, the kind of structure that we have. And a lot of us were excited when there was talk about the autonomous league and all, but that talk seems to have died out a bit. Next week, we'll do a huge inquest into the Ghana Premier League and find out if that product, we've been able to manage it well, we've been able to sell it well, we've been able to make it a professional league to attract top talent. Sundowns are buying players from the Dutch league, from the Danish league. They're buying players from all over the world, Brazilian players. They're buying top players for millions of dollars. But what kind of players are we attracting to our league?
Are we even attracting?
And the managers of the league can play the ostrich. They can believe, they are presiding over a fantastic brand. But the Ghana Premier League is not up there. It's nowhere near any of the top leagues. No. And we must set up. But look, man, let's today we are going to spend a lot of time dealing with Olympics. Before we get to Team Ghana and what Team Ghana has to offer Ghanaians, let's get into a bit of basketball. We get into a bit of basketball because it's one of the games that a lot of people would pay attention to. And also, we'll look at the sprints, 100 meters, male, 100 meters, female, possibly the 200 meters as well. But let's look at boxing. Let's look at basketball. So I took my time to check out some of the teams at the tournament and the groups we have. So there are 12 teams who will be participating in the male 5x5 basketball competition. Now you have Serbia in Group C, together with Puerto Rico, USA, and South Sudan. And then you have Group B, featuring France, Japan, Brazil, and Germany. Then you have Group A, having Greece, Canada, Spain, and Australia. So earlier today, Australia beat Spain in the first basketball game of the tournament. Now, look, man, Group C promises to be very exciting. Now, I say this because you look at USA and the cast that they come to this tournament with. And look, man, I know you can name them. I mean, you can talk of the Steph Currys, you talk about Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, Anthony Edwards, Joel Embiid, who should have been, you know, and Joel Embiid's story is an interesting one. If he was playing for Cameroon, maybe Cameroon would have been in this tournament. So Joel Embiid's talent would have been hidden somewhere. Joel Embiid is playing for the United States of America. Plays for 76ers, Philadelphia 76ers. Fantastic player. There's Bam Adebayo, who also would have missed out if because Nigeria wouldn't have qualified. Bam Adebayo.
It could have been also the other way around.
Yeah, it could have been the other way around. Yeah. And then you talk about Jason Tatum. There's LeBron James. LeBron James in there, Drew Holiday. I mean, Halliburton, Tyrese Halliburton. You can talk of all the stars that we know in that league. And then you talk about Serbia, who are in that same group with USA. Almost everybody thinks it's going to be a walk in the park for USA when they come up against Serbia. But Serbia have some interesting players there too. There's Bogdan Bogdanovic, who plays for Atlanta Hawks. There's Nikola Jokic, the man who plays for Denver Nuggets. And then the 2022 number 27 draft, Nikola Jokic, who plays for Miami Heat. Look, man, that group with South Sudan, and we'll come to South Sudan because there's quite a bit to talk about when it comes to South Sudan. But look, man, that group should be the group of the tournament. Yeah,
of course it has to. Like you said, I mean, with the United States, we don't have to talk a lot about them. I mean, if you have a team that has 3-time Olympic game medalist, Kevin Durant in the team, there is LeBron James, who has won the Olympic gold twice. There is Steph Curry, who is making his first appearance, but then he's won the NBA championship 4 times. There are players like Drew Holiday. There is also even Jason Tatum, who just won the championship, the NBA championship with the Boston Celtics. It's a solid squad. I mean, it comes close to that dream team that they had in 2008. So yes, the United States is very solid, but then like you said, Serbia comes in very stronger because look, if you have a player that has won back-to-back most valuable player in the NBA championship and then was champion 2 years ago, Nikola Jokic in the team, and then like you said, Bogdanovic, all these players are part of the Serbian team. And in recent times, we've seen the rise of players from Eastern Europe in the NBA, and most of them from Serbia, Slovenia, and then sometimes even Slovakia. And so, yes, the Serbian team looks very, very strong. And then you also have Puerto Rico and then South Sudan. With what we saw in terms of the auditioning between South Sudan and then the United States, we are in for a very good ride at the Olympic Games. But then, yes, of course, United States, Serbia, they are the favorites in the early days of this championship. Puerto Rico themselves, I mean, there are a lot of players that used to play in the NBA that are part of the Puerto Rico team. And let's not forget, they are also a North American country, and basketball is huge in that country. And so for me, it's going to be very tough. There will be a lot of eyes in that group. Serbia would want to wrap their shoulders with the United States. I think the United States will make to work hard to be able to make it out of this group. Not because the other teams are so good, but then it would have been a stroll in the park for them back in the day, where I mean they would just be beating teams just like that. But then if you're coming up against Serbia, South Sudan, I heard that the shortest person in South Sudan is 7 feet. Yeah, there is an exaggeration, but yeah. So it tells you. I mean, wow. Yeah. So I mean, if you remember the legendary Manute Bow,
that's their tallest player is 7'1".
Okay.
Yeah.
If you remember the legendary Manute Bow, who used to play in the NBA, 7'7", I understand, the tallest player in NBA history. And so for South Sudan, I don't know, they are blessed with height. So it's going to be competitive. It's going to be very athletic in that particular group. But then, yes, of course, United States are favorites, but then they will have to work hard.
And look, man, if nobody thought of South Sudan before this competition, rightly so. I mean, South Sudan is not known to be a powerhouse when it comes to sports. But that game between South Sudan and USA was the game changer for them.
Yeah.
Now that game made everybody quickly switch attention to South Sudan. What do they have? Who are they? Now, so that South Sudan team, they call themselves the Bright Stars.
Yeah.
Now, they are the youngest growing basketball team in the world in terms of the competition they've participated in. So last year they were at the FIBA World Cup, and also they also took part in the Afro Basket tournament. So this is a team that's new to a lot of these tournaments, okay? But you take your time and carefully look at that South Sudan team, and you realize that there are some top talent in there.
Yeah.
Now, so the shortest player in that South Sudan team, he's called Khaled Jones.
Yeah.
He's 6 foot tall.
Yeah.
Now, he's a point guard, and in that game against USA, when they lost 100 to 101, so they lost to USA by just a point. He managed to drop 15 points, 11 rebounds, 11 assists. Fantastic player by all standards, and he's one of the boys that they are expecting to dominate for them. Then you again look at a player like Mariel Shayuk. Mariel Shayuk. He's a shooting guard. He dropped 25 points in that game. 25 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists in that game they played against USA. And he plays for Shandong High Speed Kirin in China. So he plays in the Chinese Professional Basketball League. Then you also have a player like JT Thor, who plays for Charlotte Hornets. He also dropped 14 points in that game. Then you can also talk about Nuni Omot, who dropped 9 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist. He plays for the Ningbo Rockets in China. So you look at that team, and then you can talk about Kaman Maluach. Okay, sorry. He plays college basketball. He's just 17. He's the tallest player in that team. He's 7'1". Now you look at that South Sudan team, the one, and you realize that they've been able to put together some of their best talent from all over the world. So you get players coming in from China, you have players playing college basketball, you know, and then suddenly they are out there. You have players playing in the NBA. So JT Thor, he plays for Charlotte Hornets. So you suddenly have all these players coming in, forming a formidable team for you. And I'll check out where they went all out. They went to Houston Rockets and picked the assistant coach. So that's Royal Ivy, former basketball player, bringing in that Houston Rockets coach to manage the team. And he's been with Brooklyn Nets, New York Knicks. He's coached some of the top teams there. That move alone clearly tells you what they want to achieve as far as basketball is concerned. So they've gone for a manager who has it, a manager who can deliver for them, coupled with players who play professionally, littered across the world, putting together a team that can deliver for them. I mean, I don't see this South Sudan team capitulating at this tournament. It's a tournament for them to make a huge statement, and I think that there are very, very good lessons for us to learn as Ghanaians when it comes to developing a sport, taking advantage of the quality we have. So they know they have very tall, lanky players. What sport would best suit them? Basketball. So what do? Find a way to get some of these boys out there. You know, get some of the agents to be interested in what these boys do. Send them out there. Some are playing in China, some are playing in Australia, some are unattached, but they have the quality. That's what we've not been able to do. Today, if I take you to cantonments, the prisons, the prisons quarters, there's a basketball court there. Go and see the number of Ghanaian basketball players there. Go to University of Ghana basketball pitch. You see lots of quality players in there. But what have we been able to do with them? What tournaments have we organized for them? For even the scouts to pick. For the scouts to come and even say, oh wow, these guys have talent. Let's find a way to push them to the next level. We've not done that. South Sudan have done it. And today, we are talking about South Sudan because they were able to hold one of the most successful teams when it comes to NBA football, NBA or basketball when it comes to Olympics. The United States of America, 101 to 100. I mean, it's no one would have thought that they were going to be that close. Okay, so I think that there are lessons in that. You talk about USA. They have been at the Olympics on 20 occasions and they've won gold on 16 occasions. 2 silver, 1 bronze. Clearly, 19 out of their 20 appearances, they've been able to win medals. Clearly tells you the pedigree of that team. Coming up against a team that is making its first appearance at the tournament. And looking at that score in a trial match, clearly, I think that South Sudan have given Africa the blueprint. If we want to get the job done, of course we can.
Yeah. I mean, Africa is a land littered with talent from everything. I mean, if not because we fear a lot of water, we could have gone to Choco to get even better swimmers. So for me, I've always said when it comes to, because of the kind of desire and passion that we have when it comes to sports, we are able to excel at everything. Like you said, for South Sudan, they've drawn a very good blueprint for the rest of Africa. I think the major factor that we'd also have to appreciate is the fact that Luol Deng, who used to play in the NBA, he's played a very huge role in making sure that this happens, because he's been there before. He understands the game very, very well. He knows what and when to make moves to actually benefit the country. Like you said, when it comes to height, they have it. And then their history with regards to basketball hasn't been that bad. The few players that were able to make it out of the country to the United States ended up becoming legendary NBA players, like the Manu Bowles and then the rest, even Luol Deng himself. And so, yes, they understand what they are doing. I mean, their team isn't a bad team at all. Like you said, Khalid Jones plays his basketball in Serbia with Partizan Belgrade. One thing we are failing to see is that, you know, the NBA is very popular, but then when it comes to real competition, Europe has a very competitive NBA competition. I mean, you look at the Real Madrid, you look at the Partizan Belgrades, you look at the Fenerbahces. These are strong countries with strong basketball teams, even Barcelona. And so it's a competitive place to play basketball. And then you look at other players on the roster, like you said, you mentioned JT Tor, who is with the Charlotte Hornets. You forgot to mention even Wenyan Gabriel. He played for Boston Celtics and then the LA Lakers, and he's also in that team. And then you can also talk about players that are playing their basketball in Australia. Like we said earlier, Australia got silver last time out at the Olympic Games. They are also a very active country when it comes to basketball. And so if you have your players playing around these countries, they are not just playing basketball anywhere. They are playing in competitive leagues, in leagues where basketball is very, very huge. But then because it's South Sudan, everybody seems to not pay attention to them. I saw some derogatory comments from players like Paul Pierce, NBA legend, and Gilbert Arenas about the South Sudan team. But then at the end of the day, we also how competitive they are. I think people,
very competitive, sir.
People will be
very well drilled, sir.
Exactly. People will be made to swallow their words at this year's Olympic Games, and I'm expecting a lot from South Sudan. Regardless of what happened, I mean, they look like a team for the future. I already understand that scouts have already started trooping to South Sudan. You mentioned mentioned Kaman Malauch, who plays for City Oilers in Uganda. He's a college basketball player. Interestingly, Duke University have already picked him up.
So he's playing college football at the moment.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, we'll see how things pan out as far as the basketball is concerned. Men's 5x5 basketball promises to be exciting, and there's still some interesting names in there. The tallest player at the tournament, from France, Victor Wembanyama. He was drafted number 1. So just last year, and he plays for San Antonio Spurs. Fantastic player.
Before we even started the basketball issue, you mentioned players like Bam Adebayo, Joel Embiid, Victor Wembanyama. His father is from Congo. There are Giannis Antetokounmpo, Nigeria. So it's just about the opportunities. I think when we come down here, there are a lot of talents. Unfortunately, the opportunities to be able to excel is not there.
Absolutely. And France, we still have the likes of Bilal Koulibaly, who plays for the Wizards. Rudy Gobert, who plays for
Bilal Koulibaly is from Mali.
Absolutely. So we have the talent here. How do we get them out there? And how do we make sure when they go, they come back and make our sport great?
That's the thing.
All of that.
Because when you mention South Sudan, for example, they don't even have an indoor court. So in terms of leadership, we continuously fail our people.
Exactly. And then you talk about Canada, also coming with the likes of Jamal Murray, Dillon Brooks, RJ Barrett, who plays for Raptors.
Shai Gilgeous.
Shai Alexander. I mean, you can talk about
strong squad.
So basketball would be one of the games to watch. But look, man, let's come to Team Ghana. Who is representing Team Ghana? I know we have 8 athletes. Okay. And this will be Ghana's lowest number of athletes we are sending to the Olympic Games for the first time since 1952. So the last time we sent a contingent that's this small was in 1952 in Helsinki. That was our first appearance. We sent 7 athletes. Today, we are sending just 8. Look, man, who are they? Can they deliver medals for us?
Over 70 years down the lane now, we are sending only 8 athletes to the Olympic Games. So, of course, like you said, 8 athletes. We have 2 swimmers. So the swimmers are Harry Stacey and then Josel Mensah. They will be participating in swimming for us at the Olympic Games. And then on the track, we have Benjamin Azamati, who will be participating in 100 meters and then 4x100 for Team Ghana. There is also Abdul Rashid Samino, who will be contesting in the 200 meters for Ghana, as well as the 4x100 meters. There is Joseph for Amwa, originally a 200-meter runner, but then unfortunately he couldn't qualify for 200 meters at Paris, so he had to join the 4x100 team that qualified for the Olympic Games. There is Husseini Ibrahim, another 4x100 meter runner, and then there is also Edwin Gadai. So these are the guys that will be on the track for us. And then finally, our last athlete is Rosemary Yeboah, who is currently the All-African Games high jumper. She won gold at the All-African Games. She becomes the first athlete to qualify in high jump for Ghana. And so these are athletes, only 8, and we are definitely going for gold in quotes.
Definitely going for gold
in quotes.
Well, I think that the swimmers, Josel Mensah and Harry Stacey, they qualified using the wild card. I think that it's going to be a learning curve for them. I saw. I think it was Josel Mensah. Was Josel Mensah at the All Africa Games. If yes, I think correct me if I'm wrong. It was the 50 meters freestyle event, and at the African Games, it would shock you to know that the athlete who is supposed to be competing with some of the top athletes in the world could not win a medal for Ghana. That's Josel Mensah. So I think she finished 4th in the finals. That clearly tells you there's a lot of work to do. There's still a lot of work to be done on the athlete. She may come good in the next few years. Good experience with the African Games, but at this tournament, I'm sorry to say, let's not put unnecessary pressure on these athletes.
I'll be
let's give them the chance to go and learn come back, develop, and then maybe in future they could be challenging. So I think for the swimmers, it's going to be a good learning curve for them. Harry Stacey, I mean, we've heard a lot about him, but I still think that there's a lot of work to do when it comes to the athletes. And then you spoke about Rosie Yeboah. Yeah, Rosie Yeboah, 22 years.
She has a lot of
secured qualification with an impressive jump, 1.97 at the NCAA championship in Eugene in June. Yeah, I think that she set the national record in the process. She's one of our brightest spots. Yeah. With a lot more support, with a bit of push, I think that Rosie Yeboah is destined for the top. Yeah. And I want to believe that if we are still chasing our first medal on the track and field in the track and field events, I think that Rosie Yeboah could be the person to deliver a medal. Yeah. I mean, in future, I don't know about this competition. I think she's going to come up against quite a tall list of seasoned campaigners. But I still think that Rosie Yeboah is destined for the top. I would dare to talk about our athletes. Joe Paul Amoa, Azameti, Joe Paul Amoa, Ibrahim Fuseni, Isaac Bochio. They make up the 4x100 quartet. Yeah. Then Abdul Rashid Saminu, he came in having qualified for the 200 meters. Yeah. But what we are gathering is that he will be running in the 100 meters. And then he will now become the 5th runner for the 4x100 team. Now he's a fantastic guy. I mean, how he qualified, he didn't have to qualify via the wild card, or via the ranking. He qualified because he made the time. But I still think that the 4x100 team will do well. They may get into the semi-finals, possibly. I don't know about the finals, but it's very likely they may get into the semi-finals. Well, I don't know if they can go ahead and win it, because you look at the cast that they may be coming up against. You know, Team USA in there. You talk about Canada. You talk about Jamaica. You know, these are some tough teams in there. So in terms of the sprints, if Azamati is going to compete in the 100 meters, I'm sorry to say he may not make it. If Abdul Rashid Saminu is expected to feature in the men's 100 meters, I'm sorry to say. I mean, as patriotic as I always try to be, we cannot run away from the fact. The times that they are making compared to the times that some of the top athletes are making, you know, our athletes are struggling to run sub 10. Okay? So look at Kishen Thompson. He's running 9.77. Ferdinand Omanyala is running 9.79. Noah Laos running 9.81. Savile Oblique running 9.82. You look at that cast and you struggle to fit our sprinters in that in that list. It's difficult. It's tough. So I don't know how we can expect Azameti and Saminu to go out there and dominate a 100 meters race. Or I don't know how we are expecting them to go out there and then make it to the semifinals or possibly the finals. We'll be asking for too much from them. And the question I always ask is, how much work did we allow these boys to do? The Diamond Leagues, you know, those meets, the Budapest, Hungary, did we see them there? How much work did we put into their times? Because these are athletes who are obviously, you know, running, you know, over 11, a little under 11 and all. I mean, it's tough. So for me, let's be modest with our expectations of Team Ghana. Let's be very, very modest. Let's not put pressure on the boys. They will do their best. If we don't win medals, fine, fair enough. They would have gathered the needed experience. I don't know for the athletes. When you age, the slower you get when you begin to age. I don't know what the future holds for them. Saminu is a young guy. I think that he may have a couple of Olympics ahead of him. Joe Paul Amoa Azameti, I don't know what they do from this point. But, look, man, let's invest in our sports. Yeah. If we want to be talking about our athletes in the same light as Jamaica will do, I mean, Jamaica is coming to this tournament. They have some fantastic athletes in there. You know, Kenya, Ferdinand Omanyala, he's built himself up to the top. There's even Akane Simbine from South Africa. He's also going to be representing Africa in there. He's also a fantastic athlete. You know, we're going to see lots of these boys. And all we are asking is something needs to be done. You talk about Tibogo.
Yeah.
Tibogo of Botswana.
Yeah.
Another fantastic sprinter. You know, so it's looking like we are not putting in the work. But we want our boys to go out there and then deliver for us. But how these boys are supposed to be prepared to get to the top, we are not paying so much attention to that. And that's our problem as a nation. So you cannot wait 1 month or 2 weeks or 3 weeks to the tournament, then you quickly assemble them, say, let's go to Strasbourg and go and camp in Strasbourg for that short period. When athletes are trying to improve their time with meets, with competitions, with diamond leagues, you know, I mean, people are putting in the effort. They are organizing trials back home. And I think that's where it was at one of those trials that Sha'Carri Richardson ran 9.71. I mean, in the women's 100 meters. These are some of the things that we are lacking. Fortunately for us, there's the University of Ghana Stadium fitted with fantastic tartan tracks. If we are serious about athletics as a nation, if we are serious about grooming talents to compete at the highest level, the work should start now. Let's not wait. And these boys are going to sacrifice for us. They're going to do their best. But let's not expect too much from them. And I'll be very sad if I see people trolling these boys, possibly because they came last, or they possibly didn't finish in the top 4 or top 3 or qualify to the next stage. I'll be very sad because these boys have broken their backs to even get to this point. With very little push, with very little support. Let's make sure we fix our sports if we want to get far. Look, man.
Yeah, Raymond, I'd have to be brutally honest about this. None of our athletes is up to standard with regards to, you know, going there and then making a mark. Yes, there are some potential in there. There is Abdul Rashid Samino. There is Rosemary Yeboah, who I think could do better at this championship, and then probably do even much more better in future events. But then with regards to standards, I mean, we are nowhere close to the standards. You've mentioned numbers here. You look at the likes of Noah Lyles, and then the rest, the kind of numbers they are clocking, and then you look at our athletes. I mean, there is a huge gulf of difference in terms of the numbers that they are supposed to make to even achieve their mark. We talk about being able to compete and then compete very well. Just look at the kind of competition some of these athletes are participating in and then making their mark. We are not even there, and so if you put it in terms of the generality of this thing, you can realize that we, in terms of administrating these things, we've not done very well. I think the people in charge of these federations and then all these staffs, they don't really understand. From my point of view, they don't really understand what it takes to get athletes to qualify for competitions and then even go out there and then do better. All they think is, there is this fine guy who can run under 9 minutes somewhere in Kumasi or from Legon. Let's take him to the United States, go join a college and then find his way through and then be qualifying for competition. They are only profiting from these guys breaking their backs to qualify, because at the end of the day, if you've been closer to some of this administration, they are more concerned about how to get to these competitions. France, I mean, the officials, how do we acquire our visas?
I think even going to this tournament, I think that you look at our team, 8 athletes. I think we have about 11 officials. But I think there was an interesting story this week about Zimbabwe. And they had seven athletes and then 67 officials. It tells you the story.
That's exactly.
It tells you the story of how we
mindset,
think.
Exactly.
Our mindset when it comes to sports.
I'm telling you, look. All these federations, they care about it. If they get even one person to qualify, they are okay. Now, chief of who, chief of that, chief executive of what, president of what, they are all bringing their passports for visas for the championship. They don't care about whether we have facilities to be able to compete, because at the end of the day, I don't understand why maybe we'll be having a Ghana Athletics Ghana Athletics Championship president or Ghana Athletics Federation president, and then we still lack in terms of infrastructure. I mean, like you spoke about basketball. There is a basketball in Legon, basketball court in Legon. It is young guys who organize themselves, and then, but we have a basketball federation in this country. Oh. Yeah, we have a basketball federation in this country. But then, have you asked yourself, what are the processes in ensuring that Ghana gets a good basketball team that can compete?
At the base of it all,
yeah,
would be investment.
Yeah.
And the question you ask is the sports ministry that financially sound to make sure this basketball federation, we give them the needed funds to make sure they produce some of the finest basketball players
That
for
same,
us.
you see,
But you see, look, man, not to cut you. This same sports ministry would go every length, every extent to make sure the Ghana Football Association is well funded, well financed, to make sure the Black Stars go to tournaments
and get out
at the group stages. Our junior teams get to tournaments, get embarrassed.
They don't even qualify.
You know, our female national teams do not get the support, yet they try to break their necks to qualify for events. I think that this football bias is the reason why today our boxers are not in Paris. It's the reason why today we can just talk about our athletes participating, but our athletes not being considered as title challengers or potential medal hopefuls. I mean, it's sad. Yeah. And this mindset must change. Yeah, look, man, I was telling you the other time. Look, let no politician come and tell us, oh, when it comes to sports, we'll build a stadium, we'll do this, we'll do that, and just leave it there. We want to see a clear roadmap. What is your plan? Having sat with the federations, what is your plan for boxing? What is your plan for athletics? What is your plan for handball, volleyball, tennis? We want to know. Because at the end of the day, we have to sit on air and now be talking about Sudan basketball team, USA basketball team, when we should really be talking about our own basketball team and what kind of impact they could have at the tournament. For any sports journalist, I mean, it's nice talking about some of the big names or some of the popular teams that we know. But we want to talk about our own. We want to hype our, we want to sell ours. So for me, I think that this talk about, oh, go and do well, go and participate, oh, we just want the Ghana flag to be hoisted there. It's not enough.
You see,
when Usain Bolt, I remember Usain Bolt in a famous interview said, when Maurice Green and the likes were breaking world records at the time, he was in Jamaica climbing mountains. 4 years after, Usain Bolt set the world record for 100 meters, 9.58. Went on to set the 200 meters world record. I think it was 19.19, 19.19. Yes. We are talking about Usain Bolt today because he put in the work. Jamaica accepted that, look, when it comes to athletics, we are up there. Let's make sure we hammer that niche to make it very popular. Let's make sure we are the team to talk about when it comes to these competitions. Today, we are talking about Kishan Thompson and this guy, Seville Oblique. These are young boys. Look at them in the next few years. Look at them in the next Diamond Leagues, the international championships and all. And see where these boys get to. There's always a deliberate effort when it comes to you wanting to develop sports in a particular sphere. If it's not deliberate, forget about it.
You see, the reason why I always channel my energy to this leadership thing is that we can hammer the sports ministry as much as we can. We can hammer the federations as much as we can. But then, like you said, if there is no deliberate attempt to have a plan in making sure that we reach to a certain level, it will never work. And you see, for example, you were talking about football bias. This same sports ministry would sit down, not do anything, but then when at least qualify for competitions, they will find money to go get visas and then accommodation and then what for officials to go there and then watch this athletes. So for me, it's not that we just don't have money or we are not making the right investment. We have leaders that do not know what it takes to in fact, I will put it in this way: our leaders have failed people. in quotes, because tell me, what have they been able to be successful at in terms of, I'm talking about sports. What have we been successful at? Look, none of the federation presidents, I've not seen anything. Look, at the all African games that we were blowing up, winning, we were making some. Look, we were just look, it was the most, I don't know how to put it. It was the most underrated form of championship I've ever. Look, we weren't making numbers. It was so disorganized. We're just joking. The only competition that I saw that I felt was up to standard was the 100 meters hurdle, the female 100 meters hurdle, Toby Amusan. She was a clear cut out.
And look, man, when you go to Nigeria today, you see a conscious attempt to make people feel the buzz around the Olympics. Today, who is talking about Olympics? Where are the billboards? If you go to Ogun State, one that I saw, Toby Amusan is on a huge billboard. They are trying to rally support for Toby Amusan.
That's why they have over
to go
80 athletes at the competition. How
you
many
understand?
do we have? We have only 8.
Nobody is talking about our athletes. Nobody is making noise. We can't see the billboards there. We can't see, deliberate support from even corporate Ghana. I remember, look, man, when we were growing up, Barcelona 92 was the one that, I came to watch. Look, man, there was a song we used to sing, Get Ghana there, Get Ghana Gold. Even milk tins, milk that we drink, the wrapper around it would have the Olympic rings and all. There was something deliberate about the Olympic Games. We wanted it to be out there. We wanted Ghanaians to know that there was something happening, and then we'll rally support. I'm not surprised.
We even hosted African Games, and then the only billboards that were in the country was
there's no buzz around the Olympics. So if it hadn't been for yesterday, Ghanaians sat behind their sets and possibly saw the team in a boat. And others are even saying, but why were we in a boat when others were on, something much more luxurious? The awareness is not there. So nobody even knows the team. We should have had the Ghana Olympic Committee mount billboards elsewhere, say a word of prayer for Team Ghana or something. We are not even rallying support for the athletes.
Yeah, the thing is, they failed. I mean, the first point of failure is the fact that you have only 8 athletes as a federation, as a whole Ghana Olympic Committee. There are only 8 people qualifying for the Paris Olympic Games. I mean, that should tell you that they've already failed in their business. So there was no way they could make a buzz out of it. If you're a leader of such an institution, and then at the end of the day you have only 8, how can you even make noise about it? Who are you going to push? Because even in the end, you have, if we are going to take it seriously, only 2 people actually really qualified for the championship. Saminu and then Rose.
And then the 4x100 team. I mean, there was But look, man, let's quickly look at the sprint events at this year's Olympics. And you're still listening to Zed 101.9 FM. We are live on the weekend sports rally with me, Raymond Yamado. Lukman Evergreen Moomin is here with me. We're getting into a bit of the Olympics. Team Ghana, chances, athletes. Where do we go from here? Is it just about participating, or we want our teams to go out there and make a mark? This is the Sports Rally, weekend Sports Rally, live on Z 101.9 FM, your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio. are still live on Zed 101.9 FM. This is the weekend sports rally with me, Raymond Nyamado. We've spoken about a lot of issues here. We've discussed quite a lot. Team Ghana will be featuring at this year's Paris 2024 Olympics with a contingent of 8, 5 sprinters, 2 swimmers, and 1 high jumper. Rose Yeboah will be representing Ghana in the high jump event. Harry Stacey and Giselle Mensah will be representing Ghana in swimming. And you have Saminu, Fuseni, Azamati, Bodzio, and Jopaul Amoah representing Ghana in the sprints. We wish all our athletes the best as they seek to win Ghana's first medal in the track and field events. But let's quickly get into some of what you'd be interested in. And the sprints or the athletics event would take place, I think, 3 or 4 days to the end of the competition. So we'll leave that for later. But let's quickly look at what to expect as far as the men's 100 meters is concerned. And earlier on, I spoke about Jamaica's fastest man, Kishan Thompson, Kenya's Ferdinand Omanyala, Noah Lyles of the United States of America. He says he wants to win all 4 medals, all 4 gold medals. He wants to replicate the prowess of Carl Lewis and Jesse Owens. So Noah Lyles is one of the athletes we are talking about. So he naturally does well when it comes to the 200. He's a natural 200 meter runner. But he's tried to perfect the act when it comes to 100 meters. So he's one of the athletes a lot of people are talking about going into this competition. There's still Kenny Bednarek and Fred Kelly from Team USA to also look at. And then you can also talk about Oblique Seville, who ran 9.82 for Jamaica. He and Thompson will be the men to look at. There's also a little matter of Lechile Tibogo of Botswana. He ran 9.99, and then Akani Simbene also did a 9.86 in the recent Diamond League, and Tibogo also did 9.88 in Budapest. So clearly, there's still a lot to talk about. Now, the man who won in Tokyo, Marcel Jacobs, the Italian, is also in there. I mean, despite having won, he went under the radar a bit. But I think that he's still a force to reckon with. I mean,
I watched him in recent years. I've watched him in recent years, and he looks to be struggling a bit in terms of the numbers that the young guys are currently making. He's struggling to hit the mark, but then he's got gold before. He's been there before. The experience would come to his advantage, but then he would have to work harder to be able to actually successfully defend his title. I mean, he's not Usain Bolt, and so there is a lot of work that has to be done. But then, like you mentioned, you look at the Noah Lyles, the Akani Simbinis, the Kishan Thompsons. It's going to be a very competitive lineup in the 100 meters. It's going to be very, very tough. There is also Frederick Omanyala also in there. I think it will be interesting. We might not get the creme de la creme like we used to see. I mean, I remember in 2012, 2008, the likes of Tyson Gay, Usain Bolt, Gatlin. The guy who was supposed to be the heir to Usain Bolt.
Oh yeah, the short one.
Yeah, Johan Blake. I mean, it was really competitive.
And there was one who came to Ghana recently. Asafa Powell.
You know,
all these guys were in there. It was a star-studded cast.
Yeah. There would be no 100 meters cast like the one of 208 and then 2012. But then I think these guys, because the thing is, with this current squad, there's not so much rivalry in them like it used to be in the Boots era, where apart from Boots, you have Tyson Gatlin, there is Johan Blake. All these guys were really competitive.
Those
and
Tyson Gay at
exactly, there was so much talk around it. But then now you have Noah Lyles. I mean, he's making a lot of noise because he thinks he's unbeatable. And for him, this will be a first a chance for him to win Olympic gold in 100 meters, which will be quite competitive. He came there with his girlfriend. His girlfriend is also a sprinter, Janelle Bromfield.
Yeah.
She's also qualified for the championship. So I hope he doesn't get distracted by her around him. But then we'll see how it pans out. That will be a very good lineup. I wanted to see some intense rivalry between them, which would have made it a little bit, huge. But then the noise around the 100 meters itself is not that much.
Where do you put Azamati and Saminu in all of this? Yeah. Where do you put them?
Huge question. I don't think Azamati would do anything extraordinary, unless maybe by miracle, which, I mean, you have to work hard to be able to be that lucky, because apart from that performances he had before the 2020 Olympics, he's not really been Azamati. I saw him at the African Games in Legon, and he couldn't even match up to the new guys on the track, and so it's going to be very difficult for him. Abdul Samino, I think, could make a mark, but then even himself, you see, there is a very huge difference between participating in college events and then participating in the likes of the Budapest, the Diamond Leagues, and then the rest. And so when you get there, you will be shaken. I remember in one of those interviews, Azamati was side by side with Johan Blake. I mean, he said it. That pressure being side by side by Johan Blake alone affected his performance. And so if you are competing with, and when we talk about college, it's like, competing in intercore, exactly, the intercore and thing. Unfortunately, the only difference is that our intercore here, we don't have world-class infrastructure. They are intercore there. They have those things.
Look, man, let's look at the women's 100 meters. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of talk there too, because.
But I'm sad a little bit.
Ellen Thompson-Herah, yes, she holds the title for the 100 and 200 meters. Yeah. Unfortunately, she tore her Achilles in one of the meets, and so she would not be.
You know why I like her? Title. She's so true to her Jamaican accent. Anytime after she after an event,
she doesn't twist her tongue.
I tell you.
Yeah, but look, man. So let's look at Sha'Carri Richardson. Mm-hmm. She could not come to Tokyo last year. Yeah. 4 years ago, because she failed the drugs test. She had marijuana, found in her blood. But she's the fastest. Yeah. Because, in Hungary, she won the 100 meters with a time of 10.71. Yeah. She's the woman to beat. Yeah. As far as the 100 meters is concerned. And then you have Jamaica's Shericka Jackson. And then you have Shelly Ann Fraser-Pryce. All of these athletes would be in there. I mean, she won. Fraser and Price won silver in Tokyo behind Ellen Thompson. Yeah. She's back, and Sha'Carri Richardson is back as well. She had a lot of potential. I mean, she has a lot of potential. Let me put it that way. But we haven't really seen the best of her. This time around, she leads the time going into Paris 2024. And Shericka Jackson 10.84. And then you have Shelly Ann Fraser-Pryce at 37. You wouldn't want to put too much pressure on her, no. So a bit of that in there. And then you have USA still coming in with Melissa Jefferson, who ran 10.80. She's 23 years. Then you can also talk about Julian Alfred, who runs for St. Lucia. She made a good time of 10.78. Yeah. Also one of the athletes to look at. And then you can talk about our very own African athletes. Marie Talou, 10.91. And then Gina Bass of Gambia, she ran 10.93. So this could possibly be the cast. And then you also have the Jamaicans coming in with Taya Clayton. Yeah, Taya Clayton is also one of the athletes to look at. I mean, the women's 100 meters. What do we expect?
It's going to be fireworks. because for like you said, for Shelley and Fraser Price, you wouldn't want to put a lot of pressure on her. But then this is her last dance, and she would want to go all out. I mean, she's won gold before. She's been very competitive all these years. Unfortunately for her, yes, age has taken a little bit of toll on her. But then without Ellen Thompson at the championship, at the Olympic Games, I think she might, with her experience, sneak it through. But then, hey, there is Sha'Carri Richardson, who's been amazing in the last few years. She's also quite a bit of a talker. She was,
the Americans are talking.
Yeah,
the Americans are really talking.
Yeah. I mean, they want to. For them, everything for them is like they are world champions, and so they really do not joke with some of these things. And so for me, yes, Sha'Carri Richardson is the woman to beat. But then these Jamaicans they are really annoyed by how
Shericka Jackson.
Yeah,
I think the women's 100 meters in the last couple of years, they have dominated. The Jamaicans have dominated. So it's either Ellen Thompson, Sherry-Ann Fraser-Price, or Shericka Jackson.
Yeah.
This time around, Sha'Carri Richardson
I mean,
wants to put the brakes on them.
She's the woman in form. She's definitely the one to look out for. I feel at this particular moment, she's definitely the one to go all the way and then eventually win the gold medal. But then it won't come that easy. I feel like the Shelley-Ann Frasers would also give her a run for her money. But then, of course, Sha'Carri, she walks the talk as well.
Let's get onto the football field. Mm-hmm. There's no Team Ghana, but there's Morocco, Mali, Guinea, and Egypt representing Africa. We saw that, should I say, chaotic or controversial, or should I say wonderful game between Argentina and Morocco. And mind you, Argentina have won the Olympics twice. Brazil, who are the defending champions, failed to qualify. Paraguay beat them to it. Then you talk about teams like Spain, who started their campaign on a very good note. And then you look at all the other teams in there. There are games coming up today. We'll bring you all of those games. But let's look at that game we saw between Argentina and Morocco. Argentina lost the first half completely. They were played off the park. Morocco took a 2-goal lead into halftime. Argentina came back strongly in the second half. It was 2-1 at a point. It was 15 minutes of time added on. Argentina found a way to equalize, but the goal was ruled out for offside. There was a pitch invasion at that time. VAR checks were ongoing. Players had to go back into the dressing room. Then they had to come back out for, I think after an hour, they had to come back to warm up for 10 minutes just to see out the remaining 3 minutes of the game. Javier Mascherano, coach of Argentina, says he's never seen this before. But looking at all of that, the jury is already out. There's conspiracy. I mean, 15 minutes of time added on. Why? How? How did that happen? Did someone die on the pitch? You know, all of that. Do you have the sense that there's a bit of conspiracy or, something going on as far as trying to just make Argentina be in the headlines? I mean, do you subscribe to that school of thought that believes that something has been happening or something is going on?
Not at all. I mean, Lionel Messi says insolito. That was how he reacted to the results. But then I don't think that is the case. I feel like there is this brewing tension between Argentina and France since Argentina won that World Cup against them. I mean, even quite recently we saw the Enzo Fernandez issue. And so it's like everything that happens, especially in Paris, there will be a lot of spotlight with regards to Argentina in France. And so it's going to be quite interesting. But then I felt, I watched that game between Argentina and Morocco. Morocco were by far better than Argentina. They played very, very well. They were so dominant until that final chaotic moment in that match. And so it was a deserved win for Morocco in that first game of the competition. For Argentina, Yes, they are on top when it comes to football now. We've seen it with their national team. We've seen it with the other youth teams. I remember just last year, the under-17 team went all the way to the semi-finals of the FIFA World Cup. They've been on a certain trend for some time. They just are unbeatable now. But then that performance against Morocco did not deserve a victory or even a point. Morocco were just good on the day. I feel things were mad because of what I said earlier, which is the tension between France and Argentina, because to have fans even invade the park at that moment of the game, it really didn't augur well for football at the Olympic Games. And so for me, there is no conspiracy against Argentina at the moment. That game played out the way it was supposed to be played. Morocco were good. I don't know, but Morocco seemed to find a way to perform very well against these Europeans and South Americans, and then always bottle it against their own African teams. And so yes, that was the case. But then Morocco really gave us a match in that first game. But then I was disappointed by the results of the other African countries.
Quite. I think Mali did well.
Mali
they managed the draw.
Yeah, Israel.
Yes. But
New Zealand defeated Guinea, which for me was very surprising.
Well, it just tells you how the field has leveled. You know, the playing field is leveled at this point, because you would have expected that some of these teams will go out there and make Africa proud, but it hasn't happened. But look, man, quickly take us through the games we should expect today, and then I'll quickly switch to our boxing discussion. We have about some 20 minutes to go. My guest is here. We'll quickly get into a bit of discussion when it comes to boxing, and then we'll take the show home. So, by way of the fixtures to expect today, it's match day 2.
Yeah. So this afternoon, Argentina will be playing Iraq. That will be another tense game, looking at what is happening currently. And then there is also the Dominican Republic also playing Spain. Uzbekistan will engage Egypt. Ukraine will be facing Morocco. And then Israel will play Paraguay. New Zealand will also engage the United States of America. Japan will be playing Mali. And then Guinea will be facing their colonial masters, France. And so the games that will be coming up today, once again, starting from the first one, which is 1 p.m. this afternoon, Argentina will be playing Iraq. Dominican Republic will face Spain. Uzbekistan will play Egypt. Ukraine versus Morocco. Israel versus Paraguay. New Zealand versus United States. Japan versus Mali. France, Guinea. So these are the matches that will be coming up. Interestingly, Ukraine had more athletes than Ghana at the Olympic Games.
Well, not surprising. Not surprising to say the least. But Guinea lost to New Zealand 2-1.
Yeah.
And then Mali drew 1-1 with Israel. Morocco beat Argentina 2-1. And Egypt drew 0-0 with Dominican Republic. So all the African teams have to go out there and make Africa proud. There's still a lot to talk about as far as the Olympics is concerned. We'll keep you updated on Zed 101.9 FM. Lookman would bring you more updates on Zed in the morning, 6:50 to 7 a.m. every weekday. Make a date with Lookman, evergreen moment. But good time to get into our boxing discussion. And my guest is seated at the moment. My guest is here with me. Is the communications officer for the Ghana Boxing Federation. He's joining us. We'll have a quick discussion on his federation and what they've been up to in recent times and why Ghana failed to get us a boxer at this year's Olympics. All of that we'll be discussing on the Weekend Sports Rally. Time check is some 20 minutes to the top of the hour. My name is Raymond Yamado, and I'm serving you Lunchtime Sports here on Zed 101.9 FM, your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio. We'll get into a bit of our discussion on boxing. Not too long ago, our amateur boxers had 3 attempts qualifying for this year's Olympics, but they failed to make it to Paris 2024. I have here with me the communications director of the Ghana Boxing Federation, Jojo Epson. We'll get into a bit of discussion around that as to why Ghana's major source of medals when it comes to the Olympics is not featuring at this year's competition. Good morning, Jojo. Hey, sorry, good afternoon, Jojo.
Yeah, good afternoon, my brother.
How you doing?
Well, I'm doing better. It's only that, let me apologize to the listener for being late.
Yeah.
Due to circumstances that we cannot mention on air.
I know.
It's always better late than never.
That's right. But like I said, I mean, we do a lot of boxing on the weekend sports rally. So from time to time, we'll be having you here. So we would see how we can restructure and reposition our boxing. So don't worry, we'll be having you on the show from time to time. So we talk more about boxing.
No problem.
But I'm sure yesterday you watched the glitz and glamour around the opening ceremony. How did you feel? I mean, watching the Olympics, knowing very well you could have had some of your boxers there. I mean, what was the feeling like for you?
Well, yesterday it was the opening ceremony, and the French, as we also, set a new standard in that opening ceremony. They have some history to share, just like the Greece. So it's not surprising that the French added some kind of innovation, to it. The Greece, when they hosted in 2004, which was more of not centenary, but like the history, which time is not allowed us to talk. They also brought their own tradition to it. And the French, with the history of Pierre Coubertin, being the father of modern day Olympics, they also wanted to show some level. And that's no wonder we also saw what they did on the river, which traditionally is something that was supposed to happen at the main stadium. So, pass over the Ghana, traditionally, we also display our fugu and then whatever, and then show ourselves. That's past and gone. Now, before the opening ceremony, some of the main activities, have started, and it continued today. Boxing is starting today, and just like you mentioned, Ghana will be missing out with regards to the fact that we are the leading medal prospect for Ghana, for the country, and also a strong force to reckon with from the African continent. But you look at it, since Africa itself have challenge with representation, when you look at the various continental representations, Africa is presenting 23, while America, when you talk about America, not the United States alone, America as a continent, they have 43. Asia is going with 73. Europe is going with 99. So you look at the disparity there. Even Oceania is, I think, Oceania, which comprise Australia, New Zealand, and those things, they have, I think, 15 or so. With Africa, 54 countries, just 23, 6 male, and then 17 female. So it tells you how it is, and it's all due to the fact that the new politics in the game, with our allocation of slots for qualification.
Okay.
Currently, there's a problem between the International Olympics Committee, IOC, and International Boxing Federation, IBA, in the sense that the Russia-Ukraine war has gotten to that level. So, IBA, which is the regulatory body for amateur boxing, is at loggerhead with IOC. The IOC is coming, which is mostly by the Western powers. Right. With the excuse that officiating at that level is not that fair. Well, Ghana, we are just a small, flesh in the pond, so we cannot really have anything to do. We only follow what will suit our interest. So if you look at it, most countries at the continental level, we are giving a lot of slots during the continental qualifiers. But in case of Africa, it was just 7 slots for the males, that if you don't win gold within the 7 weight category that they gave us, you are not qualified. The female, it was 11. With the weight compressed as compared to the immediate previous one that was happening in Tokyo. In that one, the male was 33. The female, it was 15. So you look at how they compress it. From flyweights, right, to a featherweight, then they scrap the bantamweight there. From featherweight to welterweight, they scrap the lightweight. I'm talking and then from the light middleweight to the middleweight area for the men was also slashed in between there.
Compressed it.
They compressed it completely.
Right.
And knowing us as Ghanaians, we have challenge with our structure and weight. So we are good at expecting the weight up to the welterweight, flyweight, featherweight, that kind of things. So if in Africa they compare it to only 7, which includes super heavyweight, right? Mm-hmm. Heavyweight, light heavyweight, and then light middleweight. So it tells you 4 already gone. Then we need to slot for the 3 that is remaining. I'm not trying to just give any excuse here anyway. Right. But you look at it with what happened previously. When you get to the semi-finals and bronze, automatically you qualify for the Olympics. But this time around, you need to win gold. As for our female boxers, I don't want to go there because we are still at the formative stage. Okay. The Arabs, the Nigerians to some extent, the East Africans and other countries, they are ahead of us. So right. That one, we couldn't have qualified anyway. Okay. But the male, it was so compressed. So that was it. He went to Dakar, Senegal, and it was serious. We got 5 boxers into the quarterfinals, 3 into the semis, which previously automatically they could have qualified. Right. But with the compression, it affected us. Then we thought with that over, after all the qualifiers, continental qualifiers are over, the weaker boxers will come. Not knowing other countries and continents also wanted more slots. America at the continental level only got 5. Okay. So they also still brought their best to the
Thailand.
No, Italy first.
Okay, Italy before Thailand.
Cuba also did not get what he wanted at continent. So they also brought their best. Italy, who were hosting, and those other countries, with the exception of the French, who automatically have their slot secure for them. So then the Asian contingent too, Japan, Azerbaijan, and those countries, they all brought their this thing. And these are countries who are doing what matters in modern boxing. When I say what matters is exposure to technology, an enhanced technical development of the game. Yeah. And all those things that will make the game tick. So it was difficult. And in fact, the only thing I will say is we are sorry to Ghanaians that we couldn't qualify this time around after 20 years. The last time as a country, Ghana, we didn't qualify for the Olympics was 2004.
Yeah, it was in Athens.
Athens. So I can only say we are sorry because the expectation, of the boxing representing the country is so high. But football didn't qualify. No one is so much worried. No. Rugby didn't qualify. No one is so much worried. Badminton and all those things. Right? Even those who are there now, the expectation is still on boxing. That's why they didn't qualify. Because we have that comparative advantage to win medal. For that matter, we are the leading medal prospect for the country at both Commonwealth Games, African Games, and the Olympic Games. So that's why it's of a concern. But we are sorry about that we didn't qualify. But
let's look at the qualifying journey. A lot have argued that, if your boxer is good enough, he should be able to win a gold medal and qualify. Were your boxers not good enough for the test?
Well, Ray, if you look at it, we have the talent. But me and you, and for that matter, every connoisseur of the game knows that the modern game does not drive on talent alone. It's about quality preparation. When I'm talking about quality preparation, it's not 2-3 months preparation. Boxing is a combat sport, a sport that comes with an enduring energy. So it depends on your nutrition. It depends on how you handle your cardio and all those things. So you look at it, you know, after the Tokyo Olympics, the team was disbanded and reconstituted. So almost all the mature boxers that we used to have, you know, some of them either turn pro or they don't have the desire or could not fit into the new team. So we have to parade the new team altogether. We went to the Commonwealth Games, won 2 silver and then a bronze. And you know, that one itself, one of the boxers who won the silver also did not help himself. For that matter, he need to be, you know, sidelined. Okay. Then there was this Apakwalote, the new kid on the block, in the flyweight. He's as good as he is. He's a newcomer, and he was to match a much more experienced Patrick Chiyemba from Zambia, a military officer who is Africa's #1. So when they take it on, he does his best, but his best is just not enough. You come to the other guy, Joseph Kwame, who won at the featherweight, 57 kilograms. Now at 20. So after 2 years, he put on height and weight. They need to move up. Went to the lightweight. He won gold at the African Games. For that matter, he's #1 at the lightweight. But when he got to the lightweight, because lightweight was not part of the Olympics qualifiers. So the much more experienced, physical, developed
condition for that weight.
For that weight, you know, cleared him out at the semi-finals. Right. And he did it. Actually, he did his best. You see, he did his best. So from benefit of hindsight, I could say, you know, we could have better prepared with the kind of selection we took along, how we went to our preparation. Because I'm talking about preparation, residential. You know, boxers need to eat good, sleep well, get well conditioned.
You didn't get all that?
Knowing the Ghanaian situation with regards to other sports apart from football.
What is that situation?
You see, the federation that I speak for, or for that matter, an advocate, which I know you want to join very soon. You are already in the boat. Yeah. We don't get the necessary resources, you know, to help develop the game from the regions and give proper, you know, management to the national team. In the sense that we are not a profitable outfit that generates income. Okay. And to some extent, I would say we are also not well positioned to attract corporate sponsorship for fans too. So what is it? It's national team. And it's duty of the state
to take care of the
national team. And the records are there. 35 out of the 62 medals Ghana have won at the Commonwealth Games is from boxing. 4 out of the 5 medals Ghana has won at the Olympics is from boxing. So 80%. So you have the hand that laid the golden egg for you. You protect it well. So I think it's all about the fact that you know, all of us, including the media, because most of the media houses or media colleagues also does not care. With a session of when it is time for competition, then they start chasing up. But you don't use 2 weeks, you know, to prepare a team or know how well a team is prepared to go to international competition. So it exposed us greatly. If years back we were doing the same thing, other countries who are preparing well,
we've moved ahead.
They are taking steps.
But I thought that government, to a certain extent, had improved infrastructure. So you talk about the boxing emporium, which would have facilities that boxers should be happy about. You know, facilities that should help boxers with their grooming. What has happened to all of that?
I think you are touching a raw nerve now. And when you look at it, you see, the intention of the transport emporium where the Bukum Boxing Arena is located, with the swimming, the boxing academy and all those things. The main intention is for boxing.
Right.
But for now, it needs money that used to build it. And they are also trying to make profit. So that social duty of giving it to boxing have it taken off. If even the national team is going to use it, we pay for. Right?
Okay.
The concept for which it was built, using there's a building there for boxing academy, has now been turned into a student hostel.
Oh,
oh yes.
Wow, a student hostel.
Yeah, for the nurses at Kolebu to generate income, because how much does boxing bring?
Wow.
In the short term, but the purpose of building it was if you look at it, it's a three-tier structure. Mm. There's supposed to be a residential place for lodging.
Okay.
Then a stage for primary, JHS and the SHS. Okay. Basically, as a boxing academy.
Right.
That was the concept for which the place was built. It was a PPP, government, and then the Polish people also.
Okay.
And then Senate have managed to pay the Polish off and now taking over.
Right.
They are using it for their own.
So the academy that should have given you the residential camping you want.
They are at least even in going for residential camping, we still pay to SNIT. Mm. The federation has to pay.
Okay.
You see, just have to pay like the way the nurses also pay commercial rate.
Wow.
And the academy idea for now have been shaped.
And it's now the business part.
The business part. So for that reason, if you don't have enough money to camp the boxers for long, and they do a lot of regular camping, you can't control what they take. And as I mentioned earlier on, the modern game now is more about endurance.
Yeah.
What you eat. It's not everything that as a sports person you eat. Right? If I pass the roadside and buy kilewele, any amount of oil in it,
a boxer can't do it.
A boxer should not be doing that. There are things you need, things that you need to do to balance your weight and condition you well. But if you don't have that quality preparation for it, it will expose you on the international platforms. So that's what actually have affected us. And I think as a country, we need to pick very useful lessons from it. And I've heard a lot of argument about the fact that they're giving the team 3 opportunities to travel, but
it doesn't start.
It doesn't start from where? You don't just buy tickets for people to go, and then all those who are there and there, they all had the opportunity of getting tickets. And what differentiates them from our bosses is just because of the kind of preparation that they put in prior to the competition.
Right.
And that's, they come to display it. The likes of Nigeria and co, who have similar problem with us, find a way of relying on their bosses in the diaspora, especially in UK, with the help of Anthony Joshua. So he trained them for them, they come.
We don't even have the benefit, the luxury of that.
Yeah, we don't have it.
But Jojo, hold your thoughts for me. I think this will be part 1. Our time, we're out of time. And so, God willing, next week, Saturday, we'll continue this discussion. I mean, boxing is on our heart. And we have to make sure boxing sits well in terms of our sport here in Ghana. So, hopefully, next week, we'll bring you back in. We'll do the arrangement well so that next week you can come in properly. Okay. So, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you too. Just like you said, when we build a foundation for amateur, the professional also thrive. So, as the professional thrive, then that is it. So, like you said, the parents is out and the African continents are in. By next week, by this time, we will know, how it's going for Africa in regard to boxing.
Right. Thank you very much, Jojo Efsin. He's the communications director of the Ghana Boxing Federation. They oversee everything amateur boxing, and they were responsible for making sure we have boxers represent the nation at the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. But hopefully we'll continue our boxing discussion next week on the Weekend Sports Rally. This has been another interesting edition of the show. God willing, next week, Saturday, we'll be back again with your favorite branch and lunchtime sports show, the Weekend Sports Rally. My name, Raymond Yamado. Until we meet again, be safe, be good, and have a super weekend.